Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the final episode of the online learning for PE. It's the Avengers Endgame of the online learning module that we've been doing, where everything comes together, and finally you get to stop listening to my voice week in, week out, which positives all around. So this week, what we're going to be looking at is a cool down. It's a thing that you typically do at the end of a PE lesson or physical activity if you're doing it by yourself. And coincidentally, it's the last thing that we're going to be covering. How about that? So the two things that we're going to be looking at today are the reasons for doing a cool down, and then the components of a cool down. And I'll give you some science behind the two as well. So the first thing we look at is reasons to cool down. So the first thing is to lower the pulse rate gradually. Okay, so when you're doing physical activity, you might be running about, your heart rate is going to be fairly high, especially if you're doing quite intense physical activity. What we don't want to do is we don't want to just drop it straight down to doing nothing. Okay, we want to just slowly decrease the intensity. So it might be going, if you've been sprinting, rather than just stopping completely, you'll go to a walk and then you'll stop. Okay, it allows the body to just recover at a gradual pace rather than just stopping altogether. The other thing is remove waste products such as lactic acid. Now, lactic acid, you might not have heard it, you might have. Lactic acid, what builds up during exercise. Okay, it's the reason why you are sore if you've been working really hard, and it's the reason why you might ache the next day. If any of you do sports outside of school where you need to get a lift, you'll notice that after you've done, say, football for example, after you get a lift home, you'll find that once you try and get out of the car, your legs are absolutely aching. Okay, that's probably because you haven't cooled down sufficiently. So what it does, it helps remove this lactic acid. It means that we're not sore, usually the next day, but it means that we can either continue doing physical activity later on, or it means that we'll be able to do it better the next day than we would if we didn't cool down. Brilliant. Next thing is components of a cool down. So pulse decreaser, I touched on it just there. Okay, it's the opposite of the pulse raiser, which we do in a warm-up. Is trying to get our pulse rate back down to a normal level at a gradual pace rather than just completely stopping. So you might see at the end of a PE lesson, it might be the walk back to the change rooms that you do if you're on the mugger, for example, or on the field, or it could just be the teacher telling you to go for a walk. In normal physical activity, you'll probably just see it where, if you're in a gym, for example, on a treadmill, rather than just keep going at a normal pace, you'll start to slow down and you'll start to gradually decrease the intensity of the exercise. The other thing is the stretches. This is mainly for removing the lactic acid. This really helps, and it ensures that we don't have any aches or pains after we finish the physical activity, because that could be a factor in stopping us from doing it the next day. The task for this week, the final task in PE for this year, what's it going to be? Well, you're going to create your own warm-up, cool down. We've done warm-ups already, don't know why I said that. You're going to create your own cool down, and you're going to trial it at home, either with your family or you can just do it by yourself. So as I said, it's got to be a gradually decrease in intensity, and also it's got to have some stretches, usually stretches, stretching the muscles that have been most affected in this thing that you've been doing. So if you've been jogging, we're going to try and focus more on our legs than we are on our arms, because our legs have been doing most of the work. Okay, if we've been doing tennis, for example, we might want to focus a bit more on our arms than we would if we was jogging, because our arms have been doing a lot of the heavy lifting, so to speak. But that is your task for this week. I hope you've all been very well, keeping yourself safe. This is probably the last you'll hear from me, if for a while, if not forever. So I want to thank you all for listening and being great throughout the whole year. I wish you all the best. Stay safe. Keep being active. And yeah, see ya.